In the endless ocean of stars, there was a council of many great empires. They gathered in shining halls made of crystal and light. Their ships could cross galaxies in days. Their weapons could burn worlds. And they looked at Earth, a small blue planet with nothing but contempt. To them, humans were primitive. They said humans still used machines that coughed smoke. They laughed that humans had only touched their own moon and sent small probes into nearby space. They compared Earth to a child playing with wooden toys while the galaxy forged weapons of fire. In the council, the laughter of aliens echoed. Humans are nothing but animals with tools, one elder being declared. They cannot even hold their own planet in peace, yet they dream of the stars, another sneered. The word primitive spread like fire in the galaxy. It became a label, a joke, a truth they all believed. But what they did not know was that humans had already heard their mockery. The whispers of being weak reached Earth through stolen transmissions. Hidden agents of Earth decoded the signals and brought them back to human leaders. In secret rooms under mountains, men and women listened to alien voices calling them fools. The humans were silent, but their silence was not surrender. It was the silence of builders, the silence of hunters preparing for the strike. The alien races saw humans as slow, but they did not understand one thing. Humans never stopped. When beaten, they rose. When mocked, they worked harder. And every insult only added fuel to their fire. On Earth, cities were noisy with everyday life. People went to work, children went to school, and planes crossed the sky. But hidden under this, normal life, great projects were growing. Underground factories worked day and night. Orbital stations expanded like spiderwebs in the void, and in the shadows of Mars, something monstrous was being built. The aliens thought humans had no power, but they had not studied human history deeply. For thousands of years, humans had survived wars, plagues, and disasters. They had fought empires, stronger than themselves, and won. Their history was not of weakness. It was of struggle, and struggle created strength. In the Galactic Council, one alien scholar warned, "Do not underestimate humans, for their past is full of wars." But the warning was buried under laughter. The empires believed their power was too great. What could Earth do against fleets that blocked the skies of planets? What could humans do against weapons that cracked moons in half? The answer, they thought, was nothing. Still, the word primitive became dangerous. It was repeated so many times that even the smallest alien race began to believe it. Merchants refused to trade with humans. Scientists ignored human discoveries. Diplomats rolled their eyes at Earth's requests. It was not only mockery, it became isolation. Humans were pushed away from the family of stars. They were left alone. And perhaps that was the greatest mistake of all, because when humans are alone, they build. When ignored, they create their own path. And when cornered, they fight like no other. In the quiet shadows of space, humans remembered the laughter. They remembered the mocking faces of alien elders, and they began to work in silence. Every insult turned into steel. Every joke turned into armor. Every laugh turned into firepower. The aliens never asked, "What if humans strike back?" They only thought, "They cannot." But the humans whispered to each other, "Let them laugh now, for one day they will see." The Earth leaders were careful. They showed weakness on purpose. They allowed the galaxy to think nothing was happening. But under oceans and mountains and in the black of space, their true work continued, and even the most powerful alien eyes could not see it. At the same time, among humans themselves, there was division. Some feared the galaxy, saying, "We should not provoke them," others said. "We must show them our strength." But in the end, the fear turned into unity, because nothing unites humans faster than being mocked. The name primitive became a challenge. It became a scar, a wound that burned every heart, and from that wound came resolve. The Galactic Council never cared. They thought they had all the time in the universe, but they forgot one truth. Time moves differently for humans. What takes other empires centuries, humans do in decades, and what others abandon as impossible, humans complete. with blood and sweat. So as the galaxy laughed, Earth worked. As the galaxy mocked, Earth prepared. And as the galaxy dismissed them, Earth forged monsters in silence. The council thought humans were children, but children grow fast. And soon, the laughter would end. Because when the veil lifted, when the silence broke, the galaxy would see something they had never expected. They would see the rise of human dreadnoughts, but that day was still ahead. For now, there was only the mockery. And in the shadows of that mockery, humans sharpened their claws. While the galaxy laughed, Earth became silent. The silence was not weakness. It was work. It was the sound of machines hidden under oceans. It was the whisper of builders deep in mountains. And it was the echo of giant structures rising above the skies of Mars. Humans had learned long ago that open strength brings open fear. So they chose a different path. Shadows, the galaxy saw. Earth is simple, weak, still crawling. But in truth, humans were already running. They just made sure no one could hear their footsteps. The great nations of Earth had once fought each other. They had argued, they had battled, they had spilled blood. But the insult of being called primitive did something no treaty could do. It united them. For the first time, leaders who were once enemies shook hands in silence, not for peace alone, but for survival. Factories that once built cars now built Starship armor. Labs that once made medicines now studied alien weapons. And spaceports that once launched satellites now launched war machines hidden as research probes. The galaxy saw nothing but normal progress. But under that mask, humans were sharpening their blades. Around the moon, orbital stations grew like nests of iron. They were covered with mirrors and fake solar panels. To alien eyes, they looked harmless, but inside, massive reactors hummed. Inside, weapons slept, waiting for the day they would awaken. Mars became the true heart of shadows. Its red deserts hid giant hangars dug deep into stone. From above, they looked like normal craters, but below, engineers worked day and night. Here, the first dreadnoughts took form. Their skeletons stretched longer than cities. Their armor was forged from metals, mixed with alien designs stolen in secret, and their engines were built to roar like thunder in the void. Few humans knew about them. Only the chosen, the trusted, the ones who carried the secret without fear. Even pilots trained in simulators never saw the real ships. They only flew in shadows, waiting for the day when steel would meet stars. Still, building such monsters was not easy. Resources ran short. Earth's oceans were mined for rare metals. Asteroids were broken apart for fuel and ore. And sometimes humans died in accidents hidden from the public eye. But no one stopped. For every man and woman who fell, 10 more stood ready. The fire of mockery still burned in their hearts, and they whispered to each other, "We build not for war, but for respect." The galaxy, however, was blind. They believed humans were still busy arguing about borders, money, and politics. They never saw that humans had learned to argue in public and unite in secret. Even alien spies sent to Earth reported little. They saw cities, traffic, music, and chaos. They wrote reports saying, "Humans are too divided, too weak," and their masters believed it. None of them saw the black ships growing in silence, but one alien race began to feel uneasy. The scholars of a minor star system noticed the sudden increase of human mining. They saw strange movements near Mars and the asteroid belt. They warned the council again. "Humans are hiding something," they said. But the council laughed louder than before. "They are primitive. They cannot hide anything from us," and the warnings were ignored. Meanwhile, on Earth, soldiers trained in deserts, jungles, and icy mountains. They trained not only for ground battles but for the endless dark of space. Young men and women were told, "One day, you may be called to defend all of humanity." Their uniforms carried no single nation's flag. They carried only one emblem, Earth, and though they were few, they were ready in secret bases. Scientists worked on weapons never seen before, cannons that could tear holes in shields, torpedoes that could chase ships faster than light, and energy beams that could cut through hulls like knives through paper. These weapons were dangerous, unstable, even deadly to those who built them. But still, humans continued. For every failed test, they tried again. and every failure was only a step toward success. The shadows of Earth stretched further each year, from the Moon to Mars to the Belt, and then to the outer edges of the system. Even the black emptiness near Jupiter's storms hid human secrets. Drones swam in its shadow, feeding the birth of more war machines, yet in all this humans kept their silence. No declaration, no threat, no challenge. They let the galaxy believe the joke. They let the word primitive echo across the stars, and they smiled in the shadows, because they knew a truth no one else knew. The day would come when the shadows would open, and when the light revealed what humans had built, the galaxy would tremble. For now, the work continued in silence, in darkness, in patience. The galaxy mocked, and Earth prepared. Each starship frame lifted in Mars's hidden docks was a promise. Each weapon test was a warning waiting to be spoken. And each soldier sworn into the new human fleet was a shadow of the storm to come. The galaxy had no idea. They thought shadows were empty, but in truth, shadows are where monsters are born. And in the shadows of Earth, monsters were waiting to rise. The Galactic Council gathered again in their halls of light. Stars glittered in the windows like diamonds scattered in the void. Around the vast table sat the rulers of old empires. They had seen thousands of worlds rise and fall. They had crushed rebellions, erased civilizations, and believed themselves untouchable. But now, whispers had begun to trouble their peace. Reports from smaller races spoke of humans mining too much, building too fast, moving too quietly. Some merchants swore they saw strange shapes near the asteroid belt. Others claimed entire shipments vanished when traveling close to Mars. No proof, only rumors, yet the air of the council felt uneasy. An elder of the Velnari, a proud race of scholars, stood. He spread his thin hands and said, "My lords, I fear the humans do not sleep as we believe. They are not as weak as the word primitive makes us think." His voice trembled, but his words carried truth. The chamber filled with laughter. The high speaker of the Threxian Empire struck the floor with his claw. "Humans, do not waste our time. They are children playing in mud while we fly between galaxies. Their ships are fragile, their weapons toys, their politics chaos." Others nodded, smug and proud. Still, the rumors would not die. Finally, the council agreed. A message must be sent, not a friendly word, not a soft warning, but a command, a threat dressed as law. From the golden heart of the council, a signal traveled across the stars. It crossed nebulae, it passed dying suns, and it finally reached the small blue planet, Earth. The words were simple, sharp, and filled with arrogance. "Humans, remain within your system. Do not expand beyond your sun. Do not build ships of war. You are not ready. Defy us, and we will erase you." On Earth, the leaders listened in silence. The signal echoed in hidden chambers under stone and steel. The words were translated into every tongue. Some leaders trembled with fear. Others clenched their fists with rage. But none dared to answer back, for now Earth remained quiet. The official reply was soft, polite, almost submissive. "We understand, we will remain peaceful," the humans said. The galaxy smiled with pride, thinking they had reminded the child race of its place. But in the shadows of Earth, the real answer was being forged. The warning had not broken them. It had hardened them. The threat had not stopped the work. It had accelerated it, on Mars. The Dreadnought frames grew faster. Engines roared louder. Weapons were tested with more fury. And human scientists whispered, "If they wish to erase us, then we must become unerasable." The Galactic Council thought their words had power, but they did not know the human heart. They did not know that threats do not weaken humans. Threats sharpen them. Threats give them reason to rise higher. Among the soldiers training in secret bases, the warning spread like fire. Young men and women heard the alien words, "Do not expand, do not fight," and they answered in their hearts, "We will expand, we will fight, we will endure." Every insult became a drumbeat, every threat became a song, and the hidden fleet of Earth grew in silence. Each new ship was a reply the galaxy would one day hear. But not all aliens were blind. A small race called the Zorath watched closely. They were traders, small and cautious. They had no empire, no fleets, no armies, but they had eyes, and their eyes saw too much. One Zorath captain sent a secret report to his council. I saw a shadow near Mars, longer than any human ship should be. I saw lights along its hull, not of transport, but of war. His people trembled. They had no power to stop it, but they knew what it meant. The Zorath sent one final warning to the council. Humans are not what they seem. If you threaten them, they will not kneel. They will rise. But again, the mighty laughed. The warning was ignored, and the galaxy continued to mock. Back on Earth, the leaders remembered history. They remembered every empire that had once tried to enslave humanity, every invader, every conqueror, every tyrant, and they remembered how humanity had always resisted, always endured, always survived. The warning from the council was meant to stop them. Instead, it gave them purpose, it gave them unity, and it gave them a promise that one day, when the silence ended, when the shadows lifted, the galaxy would regret the arrogance of that message. For now, humans worked faster, they built deeper, they trained harder, and in the stillness of space, the shadows of Earth thickened, waiting for the moment when threats would turn into war. And when that war came, the word primitive would be burned out of existence. The stars around Sol burned quiet. The planets turned in silence. Earth's blue ocean shimmered. Mars glowed red. Jupiter's storms raged. And in that stillness, the invaders arrived. From the black of space came a fleet of alien cruisers, sleek and shining, with hulls that glowed with silver light. Their engines burned like comets, leaving trails across the void. This was no small patrol. It was a warning made of steel and fire, a reminder to humans that the Galactic Council's command was law. The flagship of the alien fleet sent its message: "Humans, you are children playing with stars. You will remain in your cradle or be destroyed." The voice echoed across the Sol system, carried on beams of light. It was calm, cold, confident. On Earth, leaders listened in silence. Some trembled, some clenched fists, but none answered. Because the true reply was not words, it was waiting in the shadows of Mars. The alien fleet spread across space like hunters circling prey. Dozens of cruisers formed lines near the asteroid belt. Their scanners searched for human defenses. They found satellites, small stations, a few armed patrol craft, weak things, fragile things. They laughed. "This is all they have?" One captain sneered. Another said, "Primitive indeed." But then their scanners caught something. A shadow moving near Mars' orbit. It was large, too large. For a moment, the alien officers dismissed it as an error, until the shadow moved again, slowly, deliberately, and the light of the sun revealed steel. At first it was just an outline, a shape hidden against the red planet. But as it drifted forward, details came alive. Towering hull, black armor thicker than mountains, lines of glowing cannons across its sides, engines that pulsed like the heart of a titan. The alien bridge fell silent. Every captain, every officer stared. It was not a station, not an asteroid. It was a ship, and not just any ship. A Dreadnought. The alien flagship's commander hissed, "Impossible. Humans cannot build this." But the truth floated before them, massive and undeniable. The first human Dreadnought. Silent, patient, now awake, still. The aliens believed their numbers would crush it. Dozens of cruisers against one ship. They prepared weapons. They charged plasma cannons. They locked missiles onto the Dreadnought's hull. The order was given. Fire. Space lit up with energy. Beams of plasma tore across the void. Missiles streaked like falling stars. Explosions burst around the Dreadnought. But when the light cleared, the giant still stood. Its shields shimmered. Its armor held. It did not fall. Then, for the first time, the Dreadnought spoke. A deep voice cut across the comms. "You called us primitive. You will not call us that again." The Dreadnought's cannons roared. Bolts of energy brighter than suns lanced out. One alien cruiser vanished in a flash, torn apart in seconds. Another was split in two, its burning halves drifting into the void. The aliens panicked. Their neat lines broke, their commanders shouted orders, but fear was already in their voices. The Dreadnought moved forward, slow but unstoppable. Its guns thundered again and again. Every shot a hammer of fury. Alien ships scattered like insects before a storm. Some tried to flee, some tried to charge. All met the same fate. In minutes, the proud fleet that had entered Sol as conquerors became wreckage. Flaming hulls spun into the asteroid belt, debris burned in the black, and the Dreadnought sailed through it, untouched. On Earth, hidden control rooms watched in silence. Soldiers and scientists stared at the screens. Some cried, some laughed. The first clash had been won. The first answer had been given, but the humans did not cheer loudly. They knew this was only the beginning. One battle, one fleet destroyed. The Council would not ignore this. The galaxy would not stay silent now. On the alien flagship, chaos reigned. The commander screamed orders to retreat. He stared at the Dreadnought on his screens, the black steel, giant that should not exist, and he whispered, "If this is their beginning, what will their end be?" The survivors fled into the void. They left behind wreckage, silence, and fear. Fear that spread faster than any signal, because word of the battle would travel, and when it reached the ears of the Council, the galaxy would tremble. The Dreadnought did not chase. It turned slowly, drifting back toward Mars. Its cannons cooled, its engines dimmed, like a beast returning to its lair, silent once more, waiting for the next storm. In the shadows of Earth, leaders spoke quietly. "We have shown them our claws, now they will come with teeth." But no one suggested retreat. No one spoke of surrender. Instead, they whispered a new word: victory. For the first time, the galaxy had tasted human fire. For the first time, the Council's arrogance had been broken. And for the first time, humans were no longer the hunted. They were hunters waiting in the dark. The wreckage of the alien fleet drifted in silence. Burning fragments spun among the asteroids. Broken cruisers floated like shattered bones of giants. And in the middle of it all, the human Dreadnought moved slowly, like a dark god, surveying. The battlefield, the survivors had fled, but their flight carried more than fear. It carried stories. Every officer, every soldier who escaped carried the same vision burned into their eyes. A ship too big, too strong, too advanced to belong to humans. A monster born from shadows, and those stories spread faster than light. Within days, whispers reached the Council worlds. "Humans have a ship," the merchant said. "Not a ship, a Dreadnought," the soldiers corrected. "Impossible," the elders declared, but their voices shook, because deep inside, they knew no rumor could scare so many. Races so quickly, unless there was truth. The Council called an emergency session. The chamber was filled with tension. Leaders who once laughed now shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Holograms of the destroyed fleet played before them, hull pieces marked with human weapons, data logs filled with screams, and at the center a blurry image. The human Dreadnought, a black titan drifting out of Mars's shadow, its cannons glowing like the eyes of a predator. "This is fabrication," one ruler shouted. "Humans cannot build such ships," another added. But the evidence was undeniable. Too many witnesses, too much wreckage, too many reports. The truth stood like a blade at their throats. The galaxy that once mocked Earth now trembled. They had called humans primitive. But primitives did not erase fleets in minutes. Primitives did not build dreadnoughts in silence. Primitives did not stare at the most powerful empires and survive. The word spread beyond the Council. Across trade routes, pirate dens, and border colonies everywhere, voices whispered the same thing. The humans are not what we thought. Merchants hesitated to send ships near Sol. Pirates abandoned raids against human transports and small. Races once eager to insult Earth now spoke in quiet respect. Fear had become their teacher, and humans had become the lesson. On Earth, leaders watched the shift carefully. They saw messages from alien merchants begging for trade. They saw frightened diplomats asking questions with forced smiles, and they understood. The Dreadnought was no longer just a weapon. It was a message carved into steel and fire. Mock us and you will burn. But humans did not reveal everything. They let the galaxy see only one Dreadnought, The first, the prototype, they did not show the others still sleeping in Mars' hidden docks. They did not reveal the weapons, still being tested in Jupiter's shadow. They kept their silence because mystery is more frightening than knowledge. Meanwhile, among the alien empires, fear turned into arguments. Some said, "We must destroy them now before they grow stronger." Others warned, "If we attack and fail, they will come for us all." The council fractured. The laughter that once united them now turned into shouts of panic. And through it all, the humans remained quiet. Their dreadnought patrolled Sol like a watchful guardian. It did not invade, it did not conquer. It simply existed, and its existence was louder than any war cry. Across distant colonies, alien children asked their parents, "Is it true? Did the humans build a ship bigger than the stars?" Priests of old religions whispered, "Perhaps the humans are chosen, perhaps their rise is destiny." And in secret, some races began to reach out to Earth, not with threats, but with offers, trade, knowledge, even alliances, for fear has a way of turning enemies into careful friends. But the council still plotted. They could not allow humans to rise unchecked. They prepared new fleets, larger and deadlier. They forged weapons meant to shatter even dreadnought armor, and they promised themselves that the next clash would end the human threat forever. Yet in the shadows of Mars, humans worked faster than ever. The first dreadnought was not alone anymore. Another Titan woke, then another. Their hulls gleamed black, their cannons whispered thunder, and their crews swore oaths, not of conquest, but of survival. "We will not bow," they said. "We will not be erased." The galaxy had seen one human dreadnought and called it impossible. What would they say when they learned there were many? What would they do when they realized the shadows of Earth held a whole fleet? For now the truth was hidden. Only one giant had stepped into the light, but behind it, in silence, more shadows stirred. And when those shadows finally moved, the galaxy would know the full meaning of fear. The reveal had begun, the laughter had ended, and the age of human dreadnoughts was rising. The silence after the first clash did not last long. The galaxy had seen the dreadnought, had seen the destruction of a proud fleet, and fear turned into anger. The council swore humans would not be allowed to rise. From the burning cores of distant shipyards, a new fleet was forged. Not a small warning force this time, but a war armada. Dozens of cruisers, battleships the size of mountains, carriers filled with fighters. Every empire contributed. They wanted to show the galaxy that humans were nothing. They wanted to prove that one victory was a trick of luck. The order was clear. Enter Sol, destroy the human dreadnought, shatter Earth's defenses, end this race before their shadow spreads. And so the second invasion began. The stars near Jupiter flickered as the alien fleet emerged, ship after ship, their engines blazing like suns, their hulls covered in glowing symbols of their empires, their cannons charged with deadly light. It was an armada built not for warning, but for annihilation. From Earth to Mars, alarms sounded. Screens lit up with the signatures of hundreds of enemy vessels. Soldiers stood ready. Scientists watched in silence. The human leaders gave only one command: hold, wait, do not fire until they cross the line. In the asteroid belt, the first dreadnought drifted, its black armor gleaming faintly. Beside it, another giant rose, and then another. 3 dreadnoughts now stood in silence, their cannons cold, their engines dimmed, watching, waiting. The alien armada spread across space like a storm front. Fighters launched, swarming like angry insects. Cruisers locked their weapons. Battleships prepared to unleash firepower enough to level moons. And then, the voice of the alien commander echoed across Sol. "Humans, your time is over. Your tricks are ended. Now you will be erased." For a moment, the stars were silent. Then, the dreadnoughts answered not with words but with fire. The void erupted, cannons blazed, hurling lances of energy brighter than lightning. Missiles launched, streaking across the black like falling stars. The first alien cruiser exploded before it could fire a shot. The second was torn apart by a storm of torpedoes. The third tried to turn, but a dreadnought beam sliced it in two. The alien fleet roared back. Plasma cannons lit the dark. Hundreds of beams converged on the first dreadnought. Its shields flared, Its armor groaned. But the giant did not fall. Instead, it answered with a broadside so powerful it lit the asteroid. Belt like a sun, alien fighters swarmed, tiny against the dreadnoughts but fast and relentless. They streaked across hulls, firing, exploding, but human flak cannons roared, tearing swarms apart. Every dreadnought carried weapons for every range, every defense, every counterstrike. The battle became chaos. Explosions ripped through the void. Alien battleships poured fire into the giants, but the dreadnoughts pushed forward, unstoppable. Each step they took through space was death for dozens of enemy ships. On Earth, billions watched from hidden feeds. They saw their ships burning, but they also saw their giants tearing through the enemy, and their fear turned into pride. For the first time they believed. For the first time they saw humanity not as prey but as power. The alien commander shouted orders. Concentrate all fire on one dreadnought, bring it down. Every battleship turned, every cruiser fired. The void lit up with 1,000 beams. The target dreadnought shuddered, its shields cracked, its armor melted. For a moment it seemed it would fall, but then its engines roared, it surged forward. Through the fire, its cannons unleashed a storm so violent that 3 alien battleships vanished in seconds. It did not fall. It refused to fall. The other dreadnoughts joined. Their combined firepower tore the alien formation apart. Cruisers scattered, carriers burned, fighters fled into the black, their courage broken. And still the humans pressed forward. Every strike was precise, every blow devastating. They were not fighting blindly. They had studied alien weapons, alien tactics. They knew where to strike, when to strike, how to turn the enemy's power against them. The armada that had come to erase humanity began to break. Ships fled, engines flaring. But the dreadnoughts chased, not fast, not reckless, just steady, relentless, like predators that never tired, never stopped. The alien commander watched in horror as his fleet crumbled. He saw battleships fall one by one. He saw his fighters vanish into fire, and he saw the dreadnoughts still moving forward, unstoppable, unbreakable. Finally, he gave the order no one wanted to hear. Retreat. The survivors fled, their ships limping into hyperspace. Behind them, they left wreckage, silence, and fear. The second invasion had failed. The armada built to erase humans had been shattered. In the council chambers, the news arrived like thunder. The mighty empire sat in silence, their faces pale, their pride broken. 3 human dreadnoughts had stood against their combined armada, and one, in the shadows of Earth, the leaders spoke softly. They brought fire. We answered with fire. And the galaxy has now seen what we are. The humans did not cheer loudly, for they knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy would come again, with more fleets, with greater fury. But now, the galaxy knew the truth. Humans were no longer prey. Humans were fire unleashed. The second invasion had ended in fire. The mighty armada of the Council, filled with battleships and carriers, had been broken. Its wreckage drifted near the asteroid belt, silent tombs for thousands of alien soldiers, and 3 human dreadnoughts had returned to their hidden docks, scarred but undefeated. For the first time in living memory, the galaxy felt something it had not felt before. Fear. It began with whispers. Merchants who fled Sol told stories in hushed voices. 3 dreadnoughts, they said. 3 giants crushed an armada built by half the council. Pirates who once hunted human transports spread warnings among themselves. Do not touch Earth ships. Their escorts are monsters. And civilians in distant colonies repeated the tales like ghost stories. The humans are rising. On wealthy core worlds, where alien nobles feasted in palaces of glass and light, the rumors became poison. They mocked at first. Impossible, they said, but the data streams could not be silenced. Fragments of wreckage recovered, recordings from fleeing ships, logs of energy blasts unlike anything seen before. The evidence was undeniable, and mockery turned into silence. Silence turned into dread. In the chambers of the council, leaders argued. Some demanded another invasion. Strike again. Crush them before they grow further, one shouted. But others warned. Every fleet we send falls, every weapon we fire fails. If we push harder, they may push back. The chamber that once laughed together now shook with division, and division fed fear. Small races, once eager to insult humans, changed their tone. Diplomats who had ignored Earth now begged for meetings. Merchants who once refused trade now offered resources. And secret envoys traveled across the void with hidden messages. "Let us be your friends, not your enemies," they whispered. The galaxy's balance was shifting. The weak had begun to look at humans not as prey but as protectors. On border colonies, soldiers of alien empires stared into the sky with unease. They had been told humans were primitive. They had been told Earth was a joke. But now every rumor said the same thing. Humans can kill empires. And soldiers wondered, if dreadnoughts defended Earth, what chance did their fragile outposts have? Fear spread faster than fire. It traveled along trade routes, across data nets, through pirate channels and merchant whispers. No censor, no council order could stop it. Everywhere, one question grew louder. What happens if humans decide to leave Sol? On Earth, the leaders watched with cold eyes. They saw the change in alien behavior. The fear was clear in every new message, every cautious request, every trembling envoy, and they understood the power of fear. One dreadnought was a weapon, but 3 dreadnoughts and the fear they created were a shield stronger than any armor. Still, humans were not arrogant. They remembered their history. They knew fear could unite the galaxy against them if pushed too far, so they moved carefully. They showed strength, but not conquest. They revealed power, but not ambition. Every word they spoke was measured, every action calculated, for they did not want to become monsters. They wanted respect. Yet among ordinary humans, pride burned bright. Billions watched the news in secret. Billions whispered stories of the dreadnoughts. Children drew pictures of giant ships crushing. Alien fleets, young men and women dreamed of joining the crews. And for the first time in human history, the whole planet carried one name in their hearts. Earth, but the galaxy did not rest. In dark halls of the council, old empires forged plans. Some worked on new weapons, desperate to find something strong enough to pierce dreadnought armor. Others prepared secret alliances. If one empire could not destroy humans, perhaps many could. And in whispers, darker thoughts stirred. Perhaps we must erase Earth completely. Burn the planet. End the threat before it grows. The humans did not know every plan, but they understood enough. They knew the galaxy feared them. They knew fear could turn into rage, and so the work in shadows continued. More dreadnoughts rose from the docks of Mars, more soldiers trained in silence, and more weapons were tested in the black storms of Jupiter. Humans did not rest, because they knew the galaxy would not forgive their victories. Across distant worlds, alien children asked their elders, "Will the humans come here one day?" And no elder had an answer. Priests prayed to ancient gods, whispering that perhaps humans were destiny's chosen. Scientists studied every scrap of wreckage, every flash of battle data, and still they could not understand how the primitive race had built giants in secret. The galaxy had once laughed at Earth. Now the galaxy whispered of Earth with fear, and every whisper was louder than the council's decrees, every rumor stronger than any law. Fear had spread across the stars, and no fleet, no empire, no threat could stop it. The dreadnoughts had not only won battles, they had won something greater. They had won a place in the galaxy's mind, a place carved in fire and steel, a place that would never be forgotten. And in the silence of space, where shadows still moved, the humans prepared for what would come next, because they knew fear was only the beginning. The true test was still ahead, and when it came, the galaxy would learn a final truth. Humans do not bow. They rise.